to Around Comics. 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 You're listening to Around Comics.
Everyone shifting in their seat. You can feel the sound of the room, you know.
We need like stereophonic sound.
Yeah.
So you can feel it.
Yeah, exactly.
What the hell was stereophonic sound? I don't even know. It was all bullshit. It was bullshit, Tom.
It was. It was a lie.
Did you see Shazam?
I did, yeah.
What'd you think?
I liked it.
I did too. That was something that we didn't mention in the last episode when we were talking about spoilers, but I had no idea, you know, the sort of end of that movie, you know, what was going to happen. And I was really pleasantly surprised by it. And I think I would have been upset if I would have found out. Yeah, the experience of, like, you know, seeing it in the movie really was, it brought a lot of joy to me. You know what I mean? Like, as a Shazam fan, and you know, it was just like, oh wow, I didn't expect that at all. I didn't
like
yeah. But it wasn't like is that a spoiler? You know what I mean? Like
yeah. I mean, I feel like everybody treats everything like any piece of info. Right. It's like a spoiler.
Anything can be a spoiler. Like
anything is a spoiler. It's like a little much, but yeah.
I saw. I think it was on Twitter today, there was a post from Marvel Studios about how awesome Avengers was, and it was like a mini trailer they put out there, and it's like, hey, you know, it was so amazing, you should go see it. But then there was like a bunch of spoilers in the mini trailer that they put out today, even though they're the ones saying don't spoil the movie.
I think I saw it.
All right, I'm good.
You're back. We already started without you, so if you want to count, you want me to count? Well, we were just talking while you were gone. You know,
I had to get some water.
Yeah, it's okay. That's sometimes you need water. Water's good.
I need to hydrate.
It's good for you. We were talking about Shazam, but we can. You want to do the intro again?
Yeah, let's do it.
In 3, 2, and 1.
From Chicago, this is Around Comics, the comic culture podcast, where twice a month we talk about everything in and around the world of comics.
Completely
and comics
arbitrary
culture.
Times a month.
I'm your host, Christopher Niesman, and I'm joined, as always, by my partner in crime, Mr. Brian Salazar.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of We're Gonna Spoil Some Shit Today. Oh, no.
No, we're not. Well, Tom might.
Avengers Endgame. This is how it goes.
Everyone dies.
All right. For the next 3 hours, I'm going to give you a scene-by-scene description of the Avengers Endgame. Here we go. Ready?
You could do an Easter eggs breakdown of that whole 3-hour movie where you explain literally
someone is going to do that.
Oh, it's already done. It's already. I mean, like my kids on the drive home from the movie theater were on their phones looking up like Easter egg explanations for stuff. Yeah. It's just, I think, what they do now. I think it's just what people do.
Go back and read the comics. Do your research, kids.
I was going to say, as I was watching, and I talked about it last episode, as I was watching the Avengers Endgame, I really enjoyed it. And I was sort of watching going, this is better than any superhero comic I've ever read. I'm enjoying this.
Really?
Yeah, like
Real.
It just
that's high praise.
Yeah, it's like I'm probably enjoying this more than any comic book I've ever read in my life. I don't know that I've. Yeah.
Really?
Well, I'm telling you, man. Like
that's high praise.
After a lifetime of reading comics, And the last 10 years of them putting these movies out, and I've seen every single one. I've seen almost all of them in the theaters. My kids were 6 and 3 when the first Iron Man came out, and we've watched them all together for the last decade. And then the way that they put it together, the way that they made this film, and without giving anything away, sort of just the way that they ended it all, and not the ending of the movie, but the ending of 10 years of filmmaking, this cast, these characters, the story that is linked from one to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next. It all culminated into this film just extremely well. I thought they did it just perfectly. And it was super entertaining. It was this really, like, I don't know. It was just like this really fulfilling.
Erotic.
Yes, erotic. It was
borderline erotic experience.
You were happy. You were in.
It was, yeah. It was.
Oh, and here's the thing. It's like, Sal, and I love you. I love you like a brother.
Thanks, man.
You are really, really critical of things. And that's one of the things I love about you, is that you will call bullshit on things that aren't good. And so for you to say that this was actually good gives me a lot of hope. So you really think it's good as I'm getting ready to see it this week?
I could have watched 5 hours of this movie.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. I could have. At no point was I bored. At no point was I like, At no point, you know what I mean? Now, and I will say this as a caveat. I think in the last couple of years, 2-3 years, I have mellowed a little bit on my criticism. I have tried to just sort of enjoy things a little more and not always be as critical about everything.
It's hard.
It is.
It's hard.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
But even so, I mean, I really enjoyed it. As a comic book fan, I really, really enjoyed it.
So it's really funny. I feel about comic books like I do about food. So I was a server at several different restaurants, and we've got a friend of ours, Freaky Tiki, who is a top shelf server at a high end restaurant. And we've talked about this. Whenever you work in the service industry, you walk into a restaurant and point from the very beginning because you work in it, and you're just you notice everything, and it makes going out to eat very difficult because you notice all of the mistakes. Whenever we started reviewing comics and talking about the industry, it almost was like setting aside the general enjoyment of movies and comics and TV because you look at it with a critical eye. Have you guys been able to get past that and say, you know what, I'm not looking at this as a critic, I'm looking at this purely from a fan perspective? Does that make sense to you?
Oh, absolutely. I don't know if I look at it like I look at stuff as a critic necessarily, but I definitely look at everything from a storytelling perspective. Is it a good story? Yeah. I can't help but look at things from, is that a good story? I'm always analyzing things from that perspective, and it does make it sometimes hard to just simply enjoy things. But one of the things I think what I've kind of created for myself is I make a simple decision about things now. Whenever I'm watching something and I'm being told a story, all I care about anymore is, do I care? Do I care about these characters or not?
That is a great parameter.
That's it. That's the only thing that I care about anymore. And if I care, then I like it. If I don't care about the characters, then it's not any good. Because I think that, to me, is all that matters in a story. Did the storyteller make me care? If they didn't, they failed. for whatever, and then I analyze stuff from that perspective. You know, if I'm writing a comic book review now, which I've been doing, that's what I read it and I go, did I care? If I did, why did I care? If I didn't, why didn't I care? And that's pretty much all I look at it from. So going back to the Avengers, they spent 10 years making me care.
No,
And
yeah, sure.
You know what I mean? So it was, and 30 years before that, I already cared about the characters.
You know, and that's a big long-term commitment. But here's something that comics do that, and I notice it when I notice it, which is a silly way to put it, but when a comic makes you care about a character or a situation like 3 pages in, and then something happens that is crucial to a story, I can look back on that and I'm like, holy shit, they made me care about a character 3 pages into a comic. How did they do that?
Mm-hmm.
And that happens. You know, I read several comics this week that have different setups and different, you know, exposition in how they make you care about characters. Some of them were kind of ham-fisted. Some of them were kind of traditional to those writers, and some of them were, you know, very natural, and it felt like they were doing things in a very unforced way. And that's where I think that comics, I don't want to say that they're different from film, like where we talk like the Avengers or TV or series, which, you know, I want to talk about Doom Patrol later and how good it is. But comics, comics give you a really interesting low cost way to jump into a story and figure out if you care about the characters. And I think that, Sal, is one of the more important things, one of the more important challenges that writers and artists have today is you have to hook someone early and you have to make them care about characters faster than you may have in the past. I mean, do you feel that?
Well, I think, I think you definitely do, but I also think that in a lot of ways you have advantages in some storytelling, like TV. And I think that's why you see a lot of writers going to TV to tell stories where they have a bigger format, a longer format to tell their story and make you care. But yeah, I think very good writers make you care about their characters, and that doesn't mean that they're likable necessarily. It just makes you care about what's going to happen next. You know, like they hook you by making you invested in what is going to happen to this character. Are they going to succeed? Are they going to fail? It doesn't mean you have to love them. It doesn't mean you have to like them necessarily. There's plenty of great stories about characters that are not likable, but in some way a writer has to make you invested and make you give a shit about what's going to happen. And I think in a lot of ways, especially in comics in the last few years, writers fall on this sort of they fall prey to either the concept being bigger than that, or that's what they're worried about is the concept, and that's going to sell the story, or something about the character is important to them, and therefore it should be important to you. Whether it's, you know, race or gender or whatever it is, a lot of times I think writers think that that's enough to make people care about the story and the character.
Yeah.
There's something about them, and sometimes it is. Maybe it is. Maybe it isn't. But I don't think you can always rely on that. You know what I mean? Like there has to be more to it. There has to be, you know, and that's the craft, I think. Is making people care about someone they've never met before, making people instantly care about what's going to happen to someone that you created out of nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's just made up. It's just made of. I my wife always says I ruin TV shows for her. So I get, I am both extremely critical and extremely uncritical in that I'm just like, it doesn't take me long to like get bored by something or annoyed by something where I'm like, I don't want to watch the rest of this because blah 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 blah. And then my wife's like, "Oh, great! Now you've ruined it." I ruined House of Cards. I ruined House of Cards for her by being like, "Doesn't it make you feel weird that like, well, first of all, Kevin Spacey, knowing now, I'm just why are all these characters so dumb? Why are they doing all this dumb shit all the time? Like, or like, why is he always just like constantly talking like all the time? And she's like, great, now that's all I can, think
Tom,
about when I
doing
watch
the
it.
show.
It's like, why is he just talking? Like, this is just like this scenery chewing like exercise that like is built for like streaming, where it's like, don't think about anything, just watch the next episode immediately. So like if you pause, you're like, wait a second, why is anybody doing any of these things in here? And like I'm the same way with books, where I just like put books down. Like it's a high hurdle for me a lot of times in fiction to like make me care about it, because there's a part of me that's like, it's just made up. And it's like, why should I care? Like, is somebody making stuff up? I don't care. Like, you have to like, it's like, I definitely have to start caring very early, or I'll just like drop it immediately. But then I don't think about it afterwards. I'm just like, I'll do something else.
But
I'm notorious for dropping books. Just like I'll read a chapter and I'll be like, God.
isn't that the key though? Is that it's that key of making you care about a character, but not making it
Obvious.
seem like, oh, you have to care about this character.
Right.
Okay.
He has children. He has a dog.
Exactly. I read four.
Care about him.
I read 4 comics this week, and they're all making you want to care about a character, which is, to Sal's point, that's what they're trying to do. And they're completely different genres, completely different comics, and every one of them wants you to, to care about these core characters.
Batman's parents were murdered. Murdered. If he was there.
But it's funny because each one of them approaches it from a different way. And one of them, the first one is straight up exposition. And it's okay because everyone knows the characters, and that's fine. And it's not a really nuanced story, but it was really ham-fisted. And that was, and I didn't hate it, but it was okay.
You should have hated it.
Star Trek Year 5. Did you guys pick it up?
I hate it already, and I haven't read it.
But it was
Year 5, Stardate. Blah blah blah.
5.
It's after Star Trek was canceled, and so it's like the year 5 of the Enterprise.
Oh,
and,
okay, I got you.
And it was okay. I enjoy it. I'm gonna read more, but it was really super.
But that almost makes sense because that show was so ham-fisted. Yeah. Like if you're gonna write a show based on, yeah.
I mean, if you don't care about Captain Kirk yet,
fuck off.
I don't know. I don't know what season 5's gonna do for you. That's gonna like alter your like perception of it. It's probably better. It's probably better for the creators not to spend a ton of time trying to like, guys, I'd like to introduce this new character to you.
It was probably better written than the original series, but yeah, it was.
How dare you?
Blasphemy!
It was a little heavy in the exposition.
Well, to your point,
okay.
though, to the whole point of this, another example is like, women in refrigerators. That sort of controversial thing of like, all the female characters that were plot devices to make you give a shit about a male superhero character. It's like,
sure.
guess what? That's writers trying to make people care about these characters that are super powerful and, invincible type of characters. Why do you think Lois Lane exists? It drives me nuts when people complain when something happens to Lois Lane these days. Like, you can't do that. It's like, the only fucking reason Lois Lane exists is to make Superman somewhat vulnerable. Because otherwise, nothing else does. Like, that's what I don't understand about these complaints about these characters. Like, no, she's just a fucking plot device. She's not. The book is called Superman.
That is the complaint, is make her more than a plot device.
Well, then give her own fucking book and sell that.
Oh, they have.
Yeah, but it doesn't sell. Nobody fucking really wants to read a Lois Lane book.
Sales aside, it's,
Silver Age Lois Lane is the best Lois Lane, who's
Yes.
just like almost constantly finding out that Superman is Clark Kent.
Yeah.
That is truly the best Lois Lane, because she's not like a damsel in distress. She's like almost an antagonist.
Right.
To the point of like this character.
I will know who you are.
He's spending so much time hiding from her that he's not actually fighting crime.
It's great. It's great. She's essentially the villain of the stories of her, of just constantly I've built this army of robots so I can fool Lois Lane into not realizing I'm Clark Kent. Even though those stories are incredibly silly, she is that is probably my favorite Lois Lane.
Right.
It's because those Superman stories just embrace Superman's not even fighting crime half the time, or if he does, it's the way it should be. He stops it in in 3 panels, and it's back to holy shit, Lois Lane, she's mailing a letter to Superman, and it's I have to sign for this package, and how she's gonna analyze analyze the handwriting, so I have to get that's most of the story, as opposed to the actual crime fighting part of it, where he's stop these bank robbers, and it's fine.
Damn you, Lois Lane!
She got me. She's analyzing my handwriting from when I signed for the UPS package.
But my point is sort of I understand people's complaints about it, but then you still have the same problem. Okay, so we're gonna give Lois Lane agency, and we're gonna make her a fully fleshed out character.
Yeah.
Well, how do we make people care about her then? You know what I mean? So now you have 2 problems. I gotta have
Jimmy Olsen.
Now Jimmy Olsen, or whatever.
Jimmy Olsen is going to find out that she is Superwoman.
Well, whatever it is, you know what I mean? But it's but people think, oh, well, if we just give her more, you're going to care about her because she's Lois Lane, or whatever character, or whatever secondary character in a book. But that's not what the writer, you know what I mean? That's not the writer's job. That's not the story that people are trying to tell. They're trying to tell a Superman story.
I mean, there's also part of it that's the audience that buys comic books. The people who buy Superman all the time just because it's got Superman in it. They don't care about Lois Lane.
Right.
You're trying to sell this character to these people who... These people, I didn't mean to say it like that. I bought Superman before, but you know what I mean. These people, the person who buys Spider-Man, no matter what happens in Spider-Man, or the person who buys Superman, no matter what happens in Superman, it's a tough road to hoe to make them be Lois Lane is just as vital to me as Superman is. It's just a difficult. It's the character wasn't built for that necessarily, and the industry wasn't built for that.
But now that's what people want. It's well, how the fuck do we do it? It just makes it that much more difficult to actually try and tell stories. And I think what you end up with sometimes is, here's a character. I don't know, whatever it is. I don't want to point to any specific examples because I don't want to pretend to know what I'm talking about here, but if you come out with now a character, say female whatever, that you're trying to give a a full rounded character to this book, a lot of times I think they don't know what it takes to actually do that. They just think, oh, well, it's a female version of this, so people are going to care. But it's like, no, you still have to do the work of making me care about this character. You have to actually give me a reason to care other than, whatever it is. I mean, it's the same thing like why I'm trying to think of something that would be in the other direction, like a Rob Liefeld character. Like, he's made a billion characters. Some of them work, and a bunch of them nobody gives a shit about, because you can't just the ones that actually worked are usually because some other writer got a hold of them and made them some, like Deadpool.
I mean, or like the idea that, let's be honest, the reason why the Spider-Man or Superman is a compelling character, you don't have to do any work. Somebody else already did that work.
Sure.
So it's like, now when you write Batman, like, sure, people write their own version of Batman, but like that character is so different in the sense that like their interest is built into them, right? Like there is like the mythology behind them is why people care about them, right? So it's like when you try and take that mythology, or like, I want people to care about this character as much as they care about like Spider-Man or Superman or Batman, it's like, man, that's going to be incredibly difficult to do, because
50 years
it's like
of history.
50 years of like that. To be honest, I don't know. Can it happen? Who knows? I mean, is there ever going to be a new comic book character that's in a printed comic book that has the cultural reach of any of those characters ever again? Just like without being, maybe if they become a TV show, or maybe if they become a movie, they do, but they're never going to have that reach, right? They're never going to have that penetration. At best, what are they going to sell, right? Like, like
80,000 copies? Maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
At best.
If you're lucky, like that's a triumph. But think about like what that means. Like, think about like if the first Spider-Man story, if only 80,000 people got it, or if there's only 80,000 copies, like it doesn't have that penetration, right? Like comics is trying to like, the printed comic is dealing with the fact that it doesn't reach a wide enough audience for new characters to like latch on to anything, which is separate maybe from how well it's written, but like it's like a chicken and the egg thing, right? It's like we only have X number of people who buy comic books. It's like, well, if you want a female character, make it female character X, because X, that's already a property that people buy. Like it's just like it's a weird trap to be in.
Mm-hmm. You feel like the characters that are there have already been established.
They're there, right? And it's like, I don't know how to duplicate. I don't know if anybody knows how to duplicate that ever again.
But Tom, you bring up a really good point with that, in that, instead of, like you said, you don't necessarily have to make anyone care about Spider-Man anymore. So, or say Superman, you don't have to make people care about Superman. So you don't need Lois Lane to be, a damsel in distress. Yeah, because you're either going to care about Superman or you're not. But is that sort of short-sighted too? Because
I don't know. I mean, it's like some people do a better job of it than others, right? But like, I'm talking about like, think about what drives like the actual purchasing of stuff, right? Mm-hmm. Like quality of story, one could argue isn't always necessarily the driving factor, right?
Certainly not, and very rarely is.
Right, so like if you're saying and I'm not, when I say you, I mean just people in general, when they're like, I wish this character drove as much interest as Spider-Man, right? And it's like Spider-Man, like someone could write Spider-Man and not do a good job of it, and it would still sell X number of copies because there's just X number of people who buy Spider-Man, right? It's like, I don't know, there's like that weird like reality of the comic book industry as far as like selling actual comic books that they're in, right? Where it's like, I don't know how you make a new character have like a cultural presence of like significance to it. Like, Spider-Man has it because he's been around for 50 years. So it's like, I don't know, like, what do you do? It's just like a weird.
It's interesting. We've talked about it before. Is what creators have made characters of cultural significance in the last 25 years, and there's two names that come to mind. It's Rob Liefeld and Mike Mignola.
Easy for you to say.
Hellboy, and then Liefeld's characters.
What
But
about The
even
Walking Dead?
Yeah. I
Oh,
was gonna
okay,
say,
Kirkman. Yeah, Kirkman.
Scott Pilgrim.
Sure. Yeah, okay. Oh, prove me wrong again. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, still, that's not a ton.
It's not a ton, and even all of those are like 10 years. You know what I mean? Like, has there been any comic book character in the last?
BKV, Runaways.
But I mean, even the TV show, I don't think anybody watches. It has its own TV show, and I don't know how.
I watched it. It's on Hulu.
Well, we're not talking about you, Chris. You're old hat. I mean,
Runaways has to be in the conversation a little bit. But it's not. It's I don't know. Is it what it was in the early 60s? Absolutely not. As far as creating new characters that, I mean, we're still standing on Kirby's shoulders, right?
Yeah, I mean, well, so many people, but, and I've said this before, they wouldn't have the cultural significance that they do if it wasn't for 50 years of writers and artists and TV producers and movie makers and actors. You know what I mean? Like, if Jack Kirby owned all of his creations and never, sold them to Marvel, never got ripped off, nobody would probably ever fucking care about most of them. You know what I mean? Like, it's just the reality.
Sure. Yeah.
So let's not, forget. So much has gone into these characters having the relevance that they do, and never before in the history of time have the Avengers and these characters been more popular than they are now. Everyone fucking knows these characters. Everyone everywhere on the planet knows these characters now.
Well, it's funny, going back to, you said you enjoyed the Avengers movie more than any comic book. Do you think any of that is that it's actually been a significant less time commitment to watch the movie? Like, right? You think a movie is less of a...
Oh, that's definitely part of it, because I don't see
it, and it's like, okay,
yeah, I can just sit down, a bucket of popcorn, and it's a passive, experience. I just sit there and it washes over me.
Here's an interesting comparison. How many Marvel movies are there now?
24.
Okay, now we're creating canon, right? Where I actually had someone ask me, it's like, okay, my girlfriend hasn't seen any of the Marvel movies. We want to go see Endgame.
Yes, you should go see Endgame.
Go see it.
What should we watch before we go?
All of them. No.
They've created canon. It's the same fucking problem the comics have. Where it's like,
but they've done a way better job of it. I think.
There's only 24.
Yeah, but you don't have to watch all those to enjoy. The only one you probably should watch is the last one.
You don't have to read 60 years of comics to enjoy the Avengers.
No, you don't. But most people aren't going to read those comics. Everybody will go see a movie.
Everyone will go see a movie. But can you imagine jumping into Endgame having not seen any of the Marvel movies? You'd be fucking lost.
No, I think the only one you really wouldn't have to. Honestly, I think the only one you would have to see is the last one, whichever Avengers, whatever the hell. I think you can enjoy them strictly as sci-fi action adventure films. You will enjoy them more if you've watched all the movies, but I think you can watch pretty much any of those movies and still enjoy them just as entertainment without having to know all the extra shit.
So does the same thing ring true for comics?
No, because, well, to a certain degree, good ones do.
Maybe
good
yes.
ones, good,
maybe
well
no.
written ones, but unfortunately, there's a lot of poorly written ones out there that you have to fucking know so much stuff to get any of it.
Let's be honest, though, again, different audience, right? Like, you make a movie,
Absolutely.
you have to make it, like, you have to be, like, a bunch of people don't know who this is.
Right.
We have to be conscious of that. It's almost the opposite in comics. You almost have to, like, if you don't acknowledge the past or don't weave that into it, people are like, what is this? Like, where's my... Like, it's just, like, a different mindset of, like...
Was Shooter wrong? Was Shooter wrong with the every comic should read like a number one?
Not every comic, but I think if you're going to do... I don't know, man. I don't have the answer to what fixed comics... Again,
Sal, tell me.
Jesus fucking Christ.
I'm writing this down.
Take notes.
All right, ready? Everyone.
Page 1, Tom. This is what we have to do. I think...
Lois Lane taller.
I think we were talking about Shazam at the beginning of this episode, and that's a movie. It's like it was great. I loved it. I thought it was super fun, and I went into it a little skeptical. I wasn't crazy about Zachary Levi. What's his name? Whoever the actor.
Zachary Levi.
Yeah, I wasn't crazy about him being cast as Shazam, but I really enjoyed it, and that's a movie nobody fucking knows the history of that character who went and saw it. I would think most people that went and saw that.
Everyone who saw it with me did, because I told them.
Well, there you go.
I was like, hey guys, did you know that this character, this is Captain Marvel. This is the real Captain.
The real Captain Marvel.
Oh, Captain Marvel. You know what I told everyone
wink.
about me.
Even people.
Did you know he's involved in a lawsuit? Yeah, I told everyone.
Just people in a coffee shop. You were before the movie. Listen.
Shazam. Did you know it's a talking tiger in the comic book?
Well, that brings up an interesting thing though, is like people do want to know this stuff. And I think if you go on YouTube and you search for comic book shows, people talking about comics like we do, they don't talk most of the popular shows are sort of like, you know how we used to do Comics 101, where we would go through the history of the character.
Sure.
That's what most popular YouTube channels about comics are. They're very condensed histories of whatever character that's coming out next. So, or whatever storyline.
101.
Yeah. Captain Marvel, Thanos, the Infinity Gauntlet. Here's a breakdown. Here's a 10-minute or a 6-minute or a 3-minute breakdown.
Sure.
Everything you need to know before you go see the movie. Because people want to know this stuff, but they don't want to read the comics. They're not going to sit down and read the fucking comics. But
they wouldn't know where to get them.
They wouldn't know where to start. You wouldn't know. I mean, there's so much you wouldn't have any idea.
You better start digging through those long boxes if you want to find out who Thanos is.
Pussy. Don't be a pussy about it.
Yeah, nobody's going to tell you shit about this character.
Except
nobody knows anything. Yeah.
All right. So to segue, I finally subscribed to DC Universe.
Nice.
It's awesome.
It's pretty good it's a pretty good value.
It's a great value. It's like $80 for the year, or like $7 a month. Mm-hmm. They have 20,000.
That makes
comics.
No sense whatsoever.
20,000 comics that you can download.
Well, they're adding their entire digital library. They just everything going back to 1938. They're gonna put. It has to be, I think, a year old. They won't do anything like of the current year, but.
That's fine.
Yeah, from like 2018 to 1938, they're going to put everything on there that you can read. That's kind of insane.
That's a lot of comics.
Yeah.
It's really good. It's are you caught up with Doom Patrol?
I think I am an episode behind.
So what's the Cyborg episode this week? They had the Mr. Negative episode was the last one.
Maybe I'm 2 episodes behind.
I might
Okay.
be a couple behind.
They're so good. Oh my god, it's such a great series.
It's
great.
It's incredibly weird, and like we talked about before, it's super authentic in a
It's
unique way.
very human. It's very human.
Oh yeah.
I mean, they're misfits, and they embrace the misfit of all of those characters. They're all outcasts, and they've tapped into that, and I absolutely love every episode. They're weird and powerful, but they don't even know their own inner strength. It is so good. It's that series is great. Titans was really fun. Doom Patrol is fantastic. I cannot speak highly enough of that series.
Yeah, they're miserable too, which is what I kind of like. They're not happy, and you know what I mean.
There's lots of swearing.
Yeah, there is a lot. Jeff,
There's a lot. Robot Man drops a lot of F-bombs.
A lot of F-bombs.
There's a lot of what
He's very frustrated.
Yeah.
Brendan Fraser is just half his script is fuck. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Fuck. Yeah.
It's great. I love it. I'm actually mad at myself for not subscribing to the entire package until like a month ago.
I'm looking forward to the Swamp Thing. That's dropping at the end of May, I think, right? I think so.
Yeah, I've heard that there are issues that they cap the episode number and they're pulling back from it, but I don't know.
It's got to be hard to film in a swamp.
Pretty much.
I can imagine it's a production nightmare.
Yeah, obviously.
Can we do this episode on the beach somewhere?
Yeah,
Can't
can we-
Beach
Why
thing?
do we have a
about
bottle
beach
episode of Swamp Thing where it's like in a warehouse? Do we have to just always be shooting in a swamp? For real though, when I heard that news, I was like, I bet it fucking sucks to shoot in a swamp and everyone's pissed off about it.
I can't
and
say
doesn't want to do it.
I thought about that at all. Like I never really even.
Like someone's like, fuck, like we gotta do this again.
So
like, just like think about how like it's just a logistical nightmare. I assume that there's some actual swamp
Where
footage.
the fuck are swamps anymore? Where you got to go find swamps these days?
I don't know.
I would love to see
Florida?
I would love to see them integrate the Constantine character from the Constantine series, who is now in DC Legends, into Swamp Thing, but they're never going to do that. And but I do love that he is now a recurring regular character in DC Legends.
Yeah, well, DC Legends doesn't give a fuck about anything.
They do not,
Dude.
and I love that. It's fantastic. It's fantastic, and they're
do whatever.
not giving fucks about anything.
Yeah, we'll do that. Whatever.
Yeah.
They gave up after one season of trying to like actually be like a real show, you know, where it's like, ooh, now they're just like, we're gonna do a bunch of crazy shit.
But it's
like
great.
all the
they're
time.
like a comic book series.
Yeah,
they
they're
don't
like,
care.
They don't care anymore.
They don't
It's like,
care.
yeah. We're just
Well, that's
not
what I
trying
hate
to-
about all the rest of the shows on the CW is they're so fucking serious all the time, and it's just like, no, just go and do wacky shit, and there are no rules. Go have fun with
does
it.
not fucking care.
No.
It's awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. But I think they're ending that too, right? Like I think this is this the last season of?
Oh, I'll be so sad.
Yeah,
'Cause I enjoyed the shit out of it.
Very good stuff. DC's doing pretty well, I think, with coming around out of the not Scott Snyder. What's his name? Zack Snyder.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Shadows.
everything's not so fucking dark.
I liked
I mean, it's-
Aquaman. I liked Shazam. Was real fun.
Yeah.
You know, and then maybe this the DC Universe Online stuff is great. So, not that it's a competition, folks. You can like all of it. You don't have to. You know,
You must choose one though as your
pride.
favorite. As your pride. That's the one you go. You have to be all in on.
Yes.
One of the two. One of the two at all times.
I I did read a DC Universe comic book that I liked quite a bit this week, though.
Was it the old
Plastic
Superman?
Man number 36.
No, it was Batman Beyond number 31.
Oh, well, I know as much about that as I do Plastic Man number 36.
Exactly. And I enjoyed it.
Well, tell us about it, Chris.
Batman Beyond number 31. It was written by Dan Jurgens. Art by Rick Leonardi and Andy Parks.
Andy Parks? He's still working?
Yes, and colors by Chris Sotomayor. It's a good little Batman story. I enjoy it. Do you like the Batman Beyond?
No.
No, I never have.
No, I absolutely do not, sir. Did you not watch the animated series, Batman Beyond?
No, I did not.
You should. If you have a DC Unlimited package, you can watch the Batman Beyond.
You're barking up the wrong
Batman,
tree, buddy.
It's Batman in the 2020s, and it's a new Batman, and Bruce Wayne is the older gentleman who is helping the new Batman, and so it's Batman Beyond, and this one is a new creative team, and it's great to see Andy inking Rick Leonardi, and it's beautiful, and it's a fun story. You should go out and read it.
I will not. No.
I
cold motherfucker.
No.
I flat out refuse. I will not be.
I feel like I should like that character and those stories a lot for whatever reason. I just haven't gotten into it. I think I tried to watch the animated series at one time, and I don't know what it was about it. I didn't like it, but I like the idea. I don't know.
Darwin Cook intro.
Well, that's like having a Chris Somney cover,
And this is a Chris Somney cover.
I know, that's why I said it. But that doesn't mean I'm gonna like the cover, the interior artist as much as I like the cover artist.
So it's basically if Robin became Batman in 2020.
So it's like Into the Spider-Verse, but Batman.
Kind of. It is exactly Into the Spider-Verse, but it's Batman. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
You heard it here first. Into the Spider-Verse was a ripoff.
No.
Hot takes.
Terry, who is the new Batman, is
Terry.
That's his name is Terry. He's not as much of an asshole as Bruce.
Whoa. Bruce is just sir, his parents
died.
were
Murdered.
His parents were murdered in front of him. Have you not a heart?
Yeah.
I can't do this anymore.
I wish I could just. You know what? Just get over it, Bruce. Right?
Big deal. You don't have parents.
Ooh.
Neither do I.
Well, my parents got shot. Yeah. Whatever, dude. You're rich.
Yeah. Pearls.
Whatever. Yeah. Whatever. Such a fucking baby. Christ, it's been like.
He's gonna spend the rest of his life punching people in the face because his parents were killed.
Yeah. It's like, oh, Superman, my homeworld got blown up. It's like, yeah, okay, whatever.
No, Spider-Man, my Uncle Ben had a heart attack.
He was your uncle.
Right.
I
got uncles I don't even know. I don't even know.
Yeah.
I think you guys need more empathy.
Nah, I got too much.
I wouldn't want to be a pussy.
Sal.
When I read a comic book, I'm just always criticizing how sensitive the characters seem. It's like, yeah, what? It's like,
kind of
your Uncle Ben died? I guess. Well, you didn't shoot him. Did you let the guy get away? Yeah, of course you did. Does that mean it's your fault? Like, I don't know.
Dude, you were wrestling. You were trying to make some cash. Uncle Ben should have known better.
There's no court that would convict you. So let's just ease up on the wall.
The old morality train. Come on.
Yeah. Oh, God.
Give yourself a break, Pete. Come on. Lighten up. Life's too short, dude. Enjoy it a little bit.
Yeah. Good vibes, man. Just like Batman. Just get over it.
Get over it. It's,
If I wrote Batman, that's what the story. It would be like the one. It would be
Get over it.
it's just called Get Over
Get
It.
over it. Part
And
1
he'd
by
be
Tom
like, "Now what?"
Caters.
And he'd be like, "Yeah, I'm over it now. It's fine.
I'm good.
I'm good." Yeah, I mean, I guess it's been a long. I've been fighting crime for a while. I guess I'm just sort of done with it. Bored. Next thing.
That's why you like the Flash, because nobody died to make the Flash. Like he
Well,
just got struck by some
What is
lightning.
Mom?
Well, no. Well, that's Ed.
That's-
That's not. That's
yeah.
Come on.
I'm saying
That's
the
just
origin of.
tacked on. Yeah, he just got chemicals on him when he was fast.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay. Cool. I'll do. I guess I'll be a hero.
right.
Yeah, it was
No,
great.
no sad sap story. He's carrying around with him like luggage all the
Yeah.
time.
God.
Oh, but you know how they retcon that and put that absolute guilt on him that his mother died.
I know that, Chris. I'm just not acknowledging.
Tom, you know they put that guilt on
It's
him.
not canon.
No, it's not my
Oh,
canon.
it's canon now, bitch.
Not to me, it isn't.
Have a completely off topic of nothing.
I'm like, nah.
Oh, thank God.
Have you guys been watching What We Do in the Shadows? Do you know? Are you familiar with that at all?
Not seen the TV show
good.
yet.
Is it really good?
Oh, have you seen the movie?
No.
Oh God.
Oh, the movie's great.
The movie's phenomenal, and the TV show's pretty good. It's so clever. It's just like, I've only watched. I think there's 5 episodes out, and I think I've watched 3. And it's a different cast, obviously, than what was in the movie, because you had, what's his name, the director of Thor Ragnarok, Taiki.
Take what? Oh my
Yeah.
God.
That guy.
Sorry, sir. I respect him greatly because he's made a lot of good, cool stuff, but I cannot say his name out loud.
Yeah, I got no chance at it. That guy, he made the movie, and he directed the first episode of the TV show. But the TV show is excellent. It's a different cast of vampires. It's two male vampires and a female vampire, and it's really good. It's maybe not as good as the movie as far as like just the impact the movie had, sort of, but it's so clever, like all the little things they put in it, just moment by moment, the clever lines, the hilarious sort of way that they just commit to the bit, like they never let go of it, and every little thing in it is just and what I like about the cast they have now is like they have sort of the main guy is sort of like a Vlad the Impaler. He looks the part, but he has kind of like a high-pitched voice, and he's a little femme. And then you have, I don't know the actor's name. He's been in a bunch of British stuff. He's kind of a heavy-set
It's
guy.
Matt Berry.
Yes, Matt Berry. Yeah.
Yes.
And he's just kind of being Matt Berry as a vampire. He does sort of that same arrogant, idiot sort of character. But it's really good. I couldn't stop laughing at it. I mean, it's like I said, I'm just amazed at all this sort of little cleverness that they do with it. And it all is just like the idea of like, well, what would vampires really be like if they lived, in New York or wherever in today, day and age? And it's so good. It's such a brilliant, simple concept that they pull so much, they mine so much out of it.
I assume you've seen Garth Marenghi's Dark Place, right? With Matt Berry. Have you ever seen that?
I don't know if I have. No.
You should.
What is it called?
Really funny. Garth Marenghi's Dark Place.
Okay.
It's like a weird. It's Matt Berry is in that. It's like a weird, like parody of a horror anthology show, where there's this author Garth Marenghi, but he's also like the star of the strange show. So like he's hosting a show, and Richard, the guy who was in the IT Crowd, Richard Ayoade.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, he is also in it, and it's like this weird parody of like horror anthologies. It's really hard to describe,
No,
but
I think
it's
I know what you
extremely
mean.
funny. It's like extremely funny. It's like this character who's like this low rent Stephen King-esque. Like he's written like 900 horror books, and they're all just like weird concepts. And he like stars in this. It takes place like a haunted hospital, and like he, is like dealing with paranormal stuff all the time. But it's just like low rent production, like on purpose.
Right.
And it's great.
That
It's
sounds
just,
right up
and
my
it's
alley,
also features Matt Berry just being Matt Berry.
Yeah.
Just doing Matt Berry stuff, being an arrogant idiot.
Yeah.
It's like the
Yeah. That's what he does best.
yes, it's what he does best. This is plays sort of an arrogant moron.
What is the show that he did where he's the actor? Oh God, what is it? It's the first time I ever saw him. I can't think of the name of the show, where he's just like a British actor, and he has all the arrogance of like like a great British actor, but he's not a great British actor. He just kind of thinks he's a great British actor.
Is it there's that one I'm looking at his Toast of London?
Yeah, Toast to London.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is just Matt Berry being Matt Berry, just running around an arrogant idiot. He thinks he's, this brilliant sort of classically trained British actor, but he can't get a gig doing like TV, commercials, and he's kind of a joke, but he just talks with that, very regal kind of thing that he does. But yeah, that's essentially who he is in What We Do in the Shadows, but then add the vampire part of it too. But they added a little wrinkle to this. There's a fourth vampire on the show, and he's a psychic vampire, and you have to see it. Like it almost doesn't work, but they all, like I said, they all commit to it, so it does work. And it's just he's like, you just have to see it. I can't do it justice. I don't want to ruin it. So
Okay. I've been meaning to see it.
Yeah.
Because I thoroughly enjoyed the movie. It's just being like a really like great just take on sort of like horror tropes and things like that, and like just the nature of vampires and werewolves and shit like that. Just like a truly, very few movies make me laugh out loud, and that movie actually did make me laugh out loud.
And what I really kind of appreciate about it is, as much as they make fun of it, there's also obviously a love of it. You know what I mean? Like they love the genre.
Yeah.
So they make fun of it, but they don't do it a way where like they're shitting on it necessarily.
Yeah.
They're just kind of looking at it from a different angle, and it's hilarious, but there's still, and there's some scenes like in that movie that are like, if you didn't know it was a comedy, there's some scenes that would be truly horrifying. You know what I mean? Or like spectacularly, avant-garde sort of, vampire cinematography. There's some in the film, even though it's, they're making fun of the whole genre. There's just like there's some moments in there. It's like, oh shit, that's really crazy looking, or that's pretty impressive looking vampire stuff. Even though the whole time they're doing it for laughs. Like I just like, who's the other the guy from what's the show, the
Flight of the Conchords.
the Kiwi
Jermaine
guy.
Clement.
Yeah, where he's sort of the Bram Stoker's Dracula version, but like when you first are introduced to him in the movie, like they open his door to his room and he's like floating, in a river of blood with three virgins, flying around him and shit. It's like, Jesus, that's horrifying, but it's also funny. It's just like really well done stuff. But and the TV show so far, I think the special effects are pretty good, but they're almost like, they're gag, but they're also at the same time kind of horrific. Like they do stuff that's horrific, even though it's done for laughs. I've really enjoyed it.
put it on the watch list.
Put it down. Chris,
I'm going to go watch it right now.
I'm on there. Yes, starting
Vampires.
Starting tomorrow after Game of Thrones.
Right. I got to watch Game of Thrones. I got to catch up on Doom Patrol. I got to watch Veep. And
you're not caught up on Doom Patrol. I'm
American
really upset
Gods.
about this.
It's been a tough month, dude. I have not had much time.
Blah, blah, blah.
Well, sorry. It's the truth.
Yeah.
It's been I had to go see Avengers.
We expect a level of commitment here, Sal.
Yeah.
You must commit fully.
I know. I'll do better.
Forget your family. Forget your job.
I wish I could.
Did you read everything? Yeah. Did you read everything? Did you watch all the shows?
I am 87% through everything, I think.
No, you're not.
Everything ever
You lie.
published.
You liar.
No, I'm pretty
You're
sure.
a liar.
You can't prove it that I'm lying.
I have so many comics I want to talk about tonight.
Go
That's
ahead.
okay. No.
Save them for
No,
later.
we're done.
Hold
We're done.
it.
I'm
We're done.
sorry. I didn't mean to derail the show with the vampire talk. But
It's all right.
Yeah.
it's very
We're all
good
right.
stuff. All right.
Give me something else to talk about next month.
There you go.
All right. Are we done?
Comics are okay. You know what I mean?
They're fine.
They're fine.
Eh.
Now,
Take
you
'em or
really
leave 'em.
want to see something? Yeah. Yeah, it's like, man.
You want to see some real shit? Follow Tom.
You want to see something good, you got to get underground, baby. You got to get in the dirt.
Yeah.
You got to get your
Yeah.
hands
Yeah,
dirty.
exactly.
You got to go deep, deep, deep. I'm
Gotta
not.
get all the way in.
Have you heard of DownTube? It's like YouTube.
Down to underground shit,
It's
man.
underground, under.
Okay. Let's wrap this up. With that, I'm going to ask you guys to suggest to people something to read before the next time we record.
Something for them to read, like a book
Yes.
report.
Yes, suggest
This-
something.
Can I
for
be
people to read.
honest? This
Yeah.
seems pointless. How are we going to know they read it? Does it matter? I don't.
It'll be something for us to fucking talk about next time, Tom.
Oh, wait, you mean suggest something for each other?
Each other or other people. Yes. Tell me something to read.
Why do we care what other people read?
Tom, tell me
They're
something
probably-
to read.
Dude, I can't just pull that out of nowhere.
Yeah. God damn it. God damn you, Tom
Like,
Case.
this is just like
Tell me something to read.
I don't know. I'm looking at my bookshelf. Have you read the book Game of Thrones? I'm looking at it right here.
God damn you. Sal, tell me something to read.
I'm looking at.
Freedom Fighters. Has
Freedom
anybody the new series, a 12-issue miniseries that's coming out from DC? I think they're halfway through it. It's really good. It's
right.
Robert
I read
Venditti.
Freedom Fighters.
Freedom Fighters. Do you want to?
Tom.
But it won't be done
Tom.
for like
Tom.
another 6 months.
Tom, I
Yes.
want you to read Elsewhere.
Okay.
It's from Image Comics. It's from Jay Fairbear.
Fuck that. I'm not reading that.
I want you to read Elsewhere.
Fuck that. Let me see.
I want everyone to read
I think you will enjoy it, Tom.
Biography.
Let me look it up.
of Elliot
That's-
I want everyone to
think
read Elliot
I thought,
Gould's.
I thought you were gonna read say L. Ron Hubbard.
It just got fucking weird.
I suggest you read.
Bible.
Let me look at my bookshelf.
The-
Have you heard of a little thing called The Hunger Games?
Your bookshelf.
It's a little book called The Hunger Games.
Is that a classic? That sounds?
I don't know. It's on my shelf. I never read it. My wife
We're
must.
living the Hunger Games now.
Yeah. How about if you guys read a little something called The Walking Dead? You know, before it was a TV show, it was a comic book.
Good one.
Yeah.
That was a good comic. That's some good comics. I can't
Yeah.
recommend things for people to read. I can't
Yeah.
even recommend things for me to read.
Yeah, it's just like just a lot of responsibility. Chris, you're trying to put too much structure on this, and I resent it.
What should
I'm just
I read?
asking for a goddamn recommendation, Tom.
What should I read, Chris? You gave Tom something to read.
Yeah,
But you didn't give me
Okay,
something to read.
told,
What am I
told
going to read?
him, I want you to read Volume 1 of Scarlet.
No.
Is that Brian Bendis?
Yes. And Alex Maleev.
Female spy. Female.
And he does it, and I'm going to tell you, he doesn't do it nearly as well as Greg Rucka.
Great. I got that.
Highly recommended.
Ooh, terrific.
That was my
wait.
takeaway. It's like, I was like, it was good. Rucka would have done it really, really better.
Nice. That's nice. Oh, that's not nice at all, Chris. I think this segment.
But true.
I think this segment is a disaster. I think we have to go back to not talking about anything.
Recommending. I think we should just recommend things for just people. What we should do is we should call out specific people that, like, people can email us, and then we can tell them to read something, and then they have to prove it.
Oh, I did want to say something. There's a guy on Twitter, and I'm not going to say his name, but he wrote us a nice little welcome back tweet kind of thing. It was a private message to the Around Comics Twitter.
Let's just say his name rhymes with Barack Obama.
Yes, that's true.
No.
No.
Wink, wink.
But he just wanted to tell us he was super glad that we were back, and he was a little embarrassed to admit it, but that back in like 2006 or something, we helped him get through a particularly hard summer. And yeah, so it's kind of cool, right? Like to hear that kind of stuff. So I just wanted,
it's awesome.
Yeah, neat stuff. I told him quit being a pussy. And we're glad that you fucking manned up finally. And no, I did not say that.
It's great.
You're a horrible.
It's great that
we.
It's bad people. Yeah, that's just who we are, you know.
Yeah. No, I told him it was nice to hear that our silliness maybe did some good somewhere along the way. So that's cool. And it's not silly at all. Like, I mean, we all have stuff that I think. If I can get serious for a minute, if I can.
Oh God!
Oh God!
Oh God!
Hey, let me just break it down here.
Let me get some more ale.
All right, is that it? Are we done with this?
No, get serious for a second.
Oh, no, like I think we've all, I had there's a particularly important episode of T.J. Hooker that helped me get through puberty.
I remember that one, the Heather Locklear episode.
No, I think everyone can relate to that sort of thing. Like, when you just want to take your mind off of shit and something helps you do that and makes you laugh, that's a good thing. So, we can all relate to that, right?
Yeah. I think so.
Yeah. Hey, it's
this episode helped me get through tonight.
It did. It's a silly, stupid hobby, and we all love it. And knowing that other people out there love it as much as we do is important. And that's I'll leave it at that. So, this episode of Around Comics is brought to you by no one.
Brought to you by Avengers Endgame. Spoiler.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't.
Brought to you by the ending of Avengers Endgame, which is as follows.
I cannot wait to go and see this next episode of Game of Thrones as soon as we get off here.
I already saw some spoilers for it, guys, but don't worry.
Everyone fucking dies.
That's not what I.
What? Okay, so seriously,
Thanos kills Lady Brienne.
No. What's our Deadpool? Because we have not seen this episode yet. What's the Deadpool? Who is the first person who's going to die? Because there's going to be a lot of people that fucking die.
I've never watched an episode of the television show.
All right, so Tom, you're out.
I read the
Sal.
book. I'm gonna say Lord Ratsley.
He died 3 seasons ago,
Sal,
Tom.
who dies first? Who's out? Who's out first?
Of the good guys,
Are they good? Have you picked sides? Have we not decided the Night King might be a swell guy?
no, I don't. He's a zombie. Zombies are never swell guys.
He's a swell guy.
No, he's not. I don't know where you're going with this, Chris, but I don't think.
Who's going down? Who's dying?
I think it's probably going to be someone inconsequential initially, like one of the dude with the flaming sword, or the
Vegas-ides are on Grey Worm.
no, not. Nah.
Are you making up these names?
It's going to be Lord Flippity-Zanga.
Grey Worm. Gold Talent.
So, and Brienne is, she's fucking gone.
I could
Brienne's-
click on this link that Comic Book Resources just posted.
No!
Game of Thrones, everyone who died at the Battle of Winterfell. I could just click on that and tell you. Let's see. Let's see who died. Let's just go through the list.
You might enjoy it more.
Yeah, you might enjoy the episode even more.
Well, you know people are gonna.
No. Stop.
Die.
God damn it. Okay, next week or
it's gonna be
next
that
month,
little
whenever.
annoying child queen.
It's just made up.
She's awesome.
It's made up.
No, man.
She's gonna die bad.
Yeah,
she's gonna get it.
It's not gonna be good.
Chris,
All right,
it's made up.
Tom.
It's all fake. Someone just made it up. All right.
Are
Go
we
on.
done? Can we
Yeah,
end this
yeah.
goddamn train
Yeah.
wreck?
All right.
Yeah.
So we'll be back next month. In the meantime,
In between time.
we'll be everywhere in and around comics.
Yay! And probably other stuff too. Not just
Well,
comics.
there's no more Avengers movies.
Right. Comics are dead now.
Comics
are over
Stop.
now.
Last episode.
Comics died with Stan Lee. He created the entire universe of comics, all comics. He wrote and drew them. He's gone. Comics are dead. That's right, true believers.
Excelsior.
Comics are all over now.
Just go home. Read a book. I heard Game of Thrones is pretty
For God's
good.
sake.
R.R. Martin would have reformed the entire Marvel universe.
Just try something else.
Have you thought about drugs and pussy?
A novel. Maybe something by Philip Roth. Something with some meat to it.
Cocaine is terrific. I once blew cocaine with a straw. We had to use a straw.
Did he put it up someone's ass?